Hi there. First trouble with the C-Max. The wipers got stuck in the middle of the windshield for no particular reason. Let me put the contact and let's cut the radio. Don't want any copyright strikes. If I try to do something, they try to move, but nope, ain't working. What I will try to do now, but I cannot film this, try to activate them and at the same time get my hand out of the window, something like this, reach on it and try to help it move. If this does not succeed, I'm going to get also my wife and both of us will try to help them move, because I want them to get lowered into the correct position so I can mark with a line, with a marker, the correct position. When I get them out, when I put them back, I want to be able to put them exactly where they were, because being that they come next to one to the other when they wipe, I don't want any mishaps, hitting each other or something like that. I'm not sure if it will work, but I'm at least going to try. And it's exactly like that, and this will confirm this area was never wiped. So this is until where this will ever reach, which is good. Now let's see how I can get this thing off. As you see, mine does not have the screws anymore. And now I'm thinking that somebody tried to fix these things. Maybe they just oiled them up a little bit to sell the car, and then that was about it. With this from Lidl, marked as you can see here, also marked like that, and on the other side. So in theory I can put this together. Yes, I can remove this anytime I want, because it's on a bit of dust, so it will come out easy. This not so easy. Do I care? Not at all. It will come by itself off. So need to do the same in here, and just wanted to let you know this is just a rubber cover. You yank on it and it comes out. So there's that. What we need to undo this is a 15mm hex socket. So let's get to it. It was actually much easier than I expected, honestly. Yanking it out will not be that easy. As you can see, it's rust in there. Some SD40, which is the Chinese version of WD-40. Yes, it's not the proper thing for something like this, but I don't have something else at the moment. So yeah, well, this was unexpectedly easy. So the rust was only on the surface. This is spring loaded and they are not in wiper replacement position. They are tucked in here, so be really careful. You do not want to crack this, nor damage paint, nor damage plastic. So hold on to it really well from here, and do not let it bend fast. It will start to bend, but let it bend slowly. Do not pinch your fingers into the spring. So yeah, it's fun, what can I say, but needs to be done. Both of them out. Yes, this I don't have on both sides. This again not. So two on each side. I don't have them. I will put new ones. But now let me see how I can. Hey, isn't this actually coming out? Yep, found the weirdness. You actually need to lift it because it has a groove in here with lots of goo, so it needs to be lifted all the way from one end to the other. And it's partially out. Now I need to find a way to it's out fully. I need to figure out what isn't working in here. What is this? Is this maybe the contact for the heated windshield? Ha! Must not damage that. For sure must not damage that. But now let's see. Ooh, is this supposed to do this? Oh, this, I think they are really worn. Yeah, this is fully broken. This is fully broken. Oh, I think I need to replace this whole mechanism. Probably it's just much too worn out. Yeah, another contact right here. Yep, these probably are for the heated windshield. Kind of close if you ask me to this, but yeah, these things are Gansky. This is getting more and more involved. I need to remove this also and that. And similarly on the other side, while not damaging this, because I need to remove this whole plastic. So also this I need to remove for the brake fluid, because I need to fully get out of the way. I don't think it's held by anything in the middle. It kind of wobbles, so only at the ends, but hey, great. This was removed at a certain point because it's missing its washer on this side, so somebody was here before me for sure. This is a Torx T27, quite easy to undo. And then let's see what that is. It's a 10mm hex. Ooh, just touch that. Do not do that unless you want to destroy the heating. So let's open this. For this we are using Torx T20. I'm not sure about this, if it's fully sealed or not. I hope it is fully sealed, so I will see how it stays when I remove the screws, because I don't want this to be dropping much too low to get air into the system. Somehow that would suck. And it stays like this. So now I think I can get the plastic out, so it seems, with care not to rip out anything. But yeah, making a bit more room in there. And yes, this car will not drive while this is all removed. It will just sit in here until I replace or fix whatever I can do. Seeing how these things enter right here and touch the metal, I hope they are actually grounds and not positive. That would suck. Anyway, lifted one of them from this, because I need to get this whole thing out by removing that, and another one similar on the other side. And yeah, these are the wires going to the motor. How many of them? I think there are 4. And I need to remove this. I cannot do it because it seems this needs to move, as this is locked in here. So glad I didn't drop it further. I kind of need to squeeze onto this and make sure this thing can come out, and then pull them apart. I don't know if this is the proper way to do it, but I simply pushed this down, and at the same time continued to push, and they seem to be coming apart decently easy and normal. And yeah, no problems with the connection itself. So this is kind of free. I will push it carefully on the other side without breaking all of this. So I kind of need both hands for that, I think. Or maybe not. Yeah, it's free. It's on the other side. Now let me undo. Jesus, I'm pushing on this again. Keep forgetting about it. Undo that, and one on the other side. And I hope this whole SE comes out. Again with the trusty Torx T27. And it works. And yes, obviously this can also be taken a little bit out of the way, but I'm not sure what I want more. This to be dangling completely or to stay tucked into this. I don't know. I will see how I can also remove this without ripping it. If I cannot, then I will push it upwards somehow like this. Maybe give me a little bit more room on both sides. I don't know. Lifted this one out of position again. So now this in theory, yeah, it's free. So let me see how I can move it further so I can get one end somehow out. From the left side I needed to lift all of this and move them minimum amount of travel that you can. Pull that right there from underneath. There's a hole in a rubber in there, so that will come out quite hard. And now we have one side out, and we can continue on this other side by slowly moving this just enough so this has enough room to come out. I didn't find another way. Looking at this, what I'm thinking is happening, all of these seem to be in normal working position. This is a bit of a weird angle, but not really bad. But here we have a really weird angle, and this one seems it does not really have any sort of lubrication in here anymore. So I'm expecting this one is rotating really hard and putting a lot of stress on everything in here. This one still has a bit of lubrication in there. So in theory I could try to open this up and oil it up quite well. But first, what I'm going to do, search for codes from here. What's on the back? This is on the back. And see how expensive one of these assemblies is, because it's a bit of work to get to it. So I don't want it to fail again in, I don't know, 1 year or something like that, and do all of this again, because I'm quite afraid of those things will snap. So not a good idea. But we'll see. If this is too expensive, then we are oiling that sucker for sure. Actually, obviously both of them. We have also found the recirculation flaps, so when these things close, we only draw air from the inside, not from the outside anymore. They are deep in there. You don't want to have any trouble with those for sure. Only excess, I think, it's from inside the dash by removing the dash, and that would suck. Be really careful about these rubbers on the ends. One of mine was actually out and it was stuck to the car, so I needed to put it back in here, because otherwise you might have a little bit of fun and stuff will not go back together. Even this, which I initially thought still had some grease in there, is moving quite hard. You can see it's not moving smoothly at all. This is not its normal direction. It normally rotates, but it's dried up deep in there. Doesn't have enough grease at all, but I can grease those easily. This will create a problem. I think it has, yeah, I think this is elastic, but did part of it actually break or what? It's another type of elastic. It doesn't have those little eyelets at the end, so I just push it with a screwdriver out of this and then remove this washer. I have no clue. I will see. Managed to yank it away, and from the marks on it, this has been running without any sort of grease for a good while. Now I need to gently tap on this thing to get it out. Look here. No grease whatsoever. I might be lucky, and if I grease this up, we could fix this, because I can only find it secondhand, and it's about 100 euros. And on a secondhand unit, well, back to square zero. So I prefer to grease my own properly and make it work again. Tapping not working yet. I honestly have no clue how this thing managed to not destroy itself up until now. It's much too seized up. Yeah, okay. We kind of found our culprit on both ends, and I will also grease all the linkages. Some of them still have something in them. I just saw there's another one of this actually around the middle more or less. And this one still seems to have grease, or somebody put something on it when they opened it up and it wasn't properly working. I don't know about that. But this will also be opened up fully and greased from zero. So I left it with WD-40 for, I don't know, I think 16 hours, something like that. Hopefully it has penetrated and I will try to smack it. Do not smack it directly in here like I started to do, because it was flattening, and then it will not go through the hole, and another set of problems. I don't have a bearing extractor, so yes, I'm buying one of those for sure this time. I will put something right in that hole in the middle and smack it through there. Hopefully it will not inflate it. These ones managed to be opened up, and yes, as I was trying to say before my phone cut off, this should have had an O-ring. The one in the corner barely has it, so it's almost completely worn out, and I have a feeling this one doesn't have it at all. But couldn't manage just by hitting this. Tried with something like this right here, it's not moving anymore, it's completely locked in there. So my only option was to get this out, and I got this out simply, it's not actually simply, but anyway, something like that, and I was smacking it right here and it popped out. So yeah, I don't like that, but I need to be able to rotate this, and as you can see here, this would not pop out easily at all because it's the middle one. My single chance was to pop this one out from there. Hopefully it will still stay in its place when I put it back, and now I'm going to hammer this slowly to make it rotate it and pull it somehow. This is not easy, it's too far gone at this point, but I'm still trying to fix this because I can only find at about 100 euros second-hand ones, which probably are almost like this, and the new one is 300 euros. I've also started to heat this up, the exterior, with this. I would not put a flame on this because I think it's some alloy, magnesium, aluminium, who knows what. Put a different type of oil in there, let it penetrate. As you can see, it's bubbling, so I think it's making its way down there from the heat. Yeah, this is really seized up, and basically I'm heating it, as you could see from the marks, to get it to rotate as easily as possible, and only then start to push it out. It's really badly corroded. Honestly, I'm amazed it was able to work up until now. Now it's really heated up. The oil is boiling, basically, still barely moving. It's mind-boggling for me how it could get stuck that badly. Water was in there for a really long time, with all sorts of other corrosive substances, maybe from washing the car, and who knows. Rotate it in this position and starting hitting it, and it seems to be going, but really slowly. It has moved just by hitting it in this area, but it's mind-boggling how stuck this thing is. Honestly, it's incredible. And it's finally out. At this point, putting this in here and hitting as hard as I can, because does it matter anymore? At least I want to get it out and see what the hell is in there that it got so stuck. Yeah. If we look inside, this is corroded to the hell and back. And it had a bushing in this end and a bushing in this end, which actually remained on this pin. You can see it right here, stuck. Fully stuck in here. And this is the crappy little seal that let in all kind of fluids that started this whole corrosion, and basically everything got stuck in here. Cool. As you can see here, while I was hitting this, just imagine how hard I needed to hit to move it, so everything was extremely seized in here. I'm sure there are much better ways to get these things apart. Honestly, even with a bearing press, I don't think I would have been able to do this, just by how hard I needed to hit it when it was already broken, and just to get it apart and see what I was dealing with. Extremely hard it was to get this thing apart. Yeah, there's that. So I actually hit this, so this would have not worked for a long time because it wasn't smooth anymore. So yeah, I effed up. Knowing what I know now, I'm not sure what I would do different, honestly, because it was just so stuck that maybe drill some holes from the side and pour some oil in them and let it work its way in for a few days. But then this would be a bit weaker and I would need to fill the holes in. I don't know, but I'm yeah, kind of lost for words at this point, honestly, because everything gets stuck in here. It's, yeah, corrosion, corrosion, corrosion. You can see it there. It was eating everything apart. Great. This is what's left of the O-ring. Camera focus, please. So the O-ring got worn out by the corrosion and let even more fluids, corrosive fluids in, and everything went to hell basically at the end of the day. Okay, working a little bit more on this, starting to realize it was my fault. I went too medieval on it and I should have pounded on it at all. Just steady force, but it was so stuck. But then I looked in here. How is the O-ring sealing? This is the single one that it's still okay. Well, it's a mixture of sealing on this wall on magnesium and sealing on that bushing. It's not copper. It's some other alloy that has copper in it. I don't remember the name now, sorry. So it doesn't have a really nice way of sealing. It kind of does what it can around there. And in here, obviously, corrosion destroyed everything. This is how it looks after I tried to clean it. And if you look deeper in there, let me turn on the camera for you. It's corrosion everywhere. It's basically literally missing a lot of it right at that level. It's, I think, at least 2 millimeters deeper than it should be. So yeah, I was too rough on this part, but the design of it, Jesus, put this where it gets corrosive stuff on it, because these are the ends. This is where you have these things and you have holes in the plastic. So all kind of salt in the winter and fluid from washing the windshield and when you're washing the car will go through that hole inside directly onto this. The one that was protected doesn't have that issue and a fly. So that was okay. But here, nah, that's not good design. But anyway, that doesn't excuse me that I was too medieval on it. But now that I look at this, even if I would have been able to fix it, this was just to prolong its misery. This was not a permanent fix. So the problem is actually that the part is much too expensive new, not necessarily the fact that it's broken. This has been running without grease for a long time. After cleaning everything, and believe me, I didn't use anything that could take out a lot of material. I just took out the corrosion and dirt. So hear this out. Yep, this is worn out. So this plus the O-ring being Gansky stuff went into this and seized it more and more and more, and it seems it was quite abrasive, so it would not let go for this to come out. It would just stick between parts. So yeah, if you will try to reassemble yours and hope that it lasts enough and you don't lose it on the freeway or during a heavy rainstorm where you could basically have an accident because suddenly your wipers stop working without any warning, kind of that's what happened with ours. They got stuck in the middle of the city. Luckily it wasn't anything dramatic, so I was managed to keep going, but yeah. Anyway, these are the elements that should be on this shaft in here. I have kind of lost track of the order, so look back in the video if you need to see what was their order. These three of them I think were on this side, and this one clearly it was closing on the other side. But yeah, look in the video and see their order, and also look really well at your parts when you are opening them up and take pictures. But do I recommend you do this? Honestly, I don't think so. I've literally seen online kits that help you fix this thing in case it starts popping out with all kind of sheet metal and stuff like that. I know this thing is bloody expensive. Believe me, I know it's bloody expensive, but I consider this still a safety thing, so yeah. And about 2 weeks later, the new part has arrived. All the codes that you might need are here. This is for a left-hand drive car. So yeah, let's take a look inside. This is the code of the new part and the code of the old one. So we had AD and we are going to AH. So in theory a revision, but who knows, hopefully something improved. But yeah, looks the same. Code of the new motor, code of the old motor that I will keep for sure. Something like this. I just need to pop this out and I will keep it for the future in case it fails. I need to transfer my cable to this one because it came without a cable. And yeah, hope for the best. I found a thing they changed, the type of screws. Now they are like this, and before they were like this. Now to change the cable I need to pull on this. It will unlock from the clip and then just yank it out, but I need both hands to yank it out. And it's out. So this just lifts the lever that normally locks into after this thing actually. So now I'm going to go in and plug it right into the new one, and it's locked, and we are done. And again, this is the code for this thing if you need it. I think this, maybe, who knows, Ford has so many codes on the parts that it makes no sense to me. And some code on this thing, I don't even know if it's the same on both of them. Yeah, it's the same. Okay, so now that this is in, we must clip the cable back in place right here. It doesn't sit that well anymore, but does still sit in place. And another here in this hole. And it's done also. So now the cable is as it was before on the new unit. And let's go install it in the car. Okay, managed to squeeze this in. It's in there, but the idea was to get this end first in and push it deep in there while not ripping this apart. That would be really bad. And then start rotating and getting all of this under this one and sliding them in. And now just remember, really hard for me to show you, we have stuff like that needs to go in a hole, and there's another one on the motor. But the problem is that in that particular hole, in my situation, as you can see in there, the old one remained, and I need to get it out before I need to put the new one in. So you need to align a little bit to push everything in place later. Got that out. Now the hole is empty, so we can push that into it, and at the same time around here somewhere, yeah, you can see it right there, another one. Putting back in the two big torques. So T30, one goes in here and one at the other end. Let's tighten them down. Do not rip this. If I could manage to get it in there. Next step, this plastic, slide it under all of this. Next step, the hexagonal ones go in this and the corresponding on the other side, and the Torx, the short but thick ones with big washers, go in here on and on the other side, because we also have some Torx but they are longer with smaller washers that will go here. So not those ones, those with huge washers are for here. Put a bigger washer here. If you remember, the washer on it was really small. And now finally I can lock this in place, but I'm thinking, what was its orientation? I need to watch on the video, because for me it seems I need to rotate it a little bit too much. Actually no, it has one in here, also one in here, but this was never used, so it's maybe for a different model of car. Luckily I didn't rotate it too much, so this needs to lock in here. That was close to doing a boo-boo, and it's locked. So this side hopefully is okay. And yes, this does have insulation on it. It's just really hard to notice. The wire is in the middle and the insulation is on top of everything, some kind of plastic film. Kind of flimsy, but I guess they did their test, I hope. Now it makes sense. This one gets used in here and this not used, so it's the same part for both sides, but it's used in a different way. Let's lock this in place if we can. And it's locked. No satisfying click, but it's locked. So this should also be. Now let's get these two one into the other. Impossible with one hand, so it's just something like this. They align and you slide them in. Next I need to slide in this little stupid plastic that will actually lock right there, and it locked. And now rotate it somehow to put it in those holes with these two plastics, and it seems to be in. Not really sure if this is the correct orientation, but at this point I don't care that much. This is done, that is done. Now the screws from the brake fluid, which just goes in here and we put in the screws. And now from what I've looked at it, there's no end of the travel, so in theory it's all electronically controlled. That's why I think we have 4 wires and not only 2. We also have a sensor inside the motor to know its position. So I will just run the wipers once, and in theory they should come all the way back, and I can put the plastic on that and then put also the wipers, and everything should be normal. Did a test and they actually moved and are back in the same position. So yes, they go by themselves to 0, which is great. We now can put the wipers. I have my marks on the glass itself. Now we put this plastic in place. Basically just try to slide it in there and get the wiper through the hole, and then make sure its plastic goes into this groove right here. But before putting this all the way in, I want to clean this groove right here in the rubber. So I'm going to try with different hardness to see the maximum or the minimum actually that I need for it to get clean. And I think this is actually it. Yeah, I can clean this perfectly. Be careful about this because it needs to clip into place. So just go slowly all around and make sure it clips. And on this side you have a channel. So this end needs to go in that channel. On one side it went by itself by mistake, on the other I need to force it in. If you remember, I had no screws to attach this to the plastic underneath. Not really sure why they were missing, but probably somebody worked in here before. My father had some of these screws, so it's great. With some washers, I will put 4 of them, but I'm not sure how the originals should have looked like, but I also don't really care if this works. Next step, put the wipers in, but I need to clean in here. You can see a lot of corrosion. This is also aluminum, so yeah, let's clean it. Okay, much better. Now we can see all the lines that will lock onto the shaft. And now the lines that I made are helping me here and also there. And I will just put the nut on top of it and tighten it. Second one is also in. This one, as you can see, it's a little bit lower, exactly what I wanted, because I had the impression it was a bit too high initially. This one kind of spot on. Here it kind of looks good, so yeah, hope for the best. Look also on the windshield to what level you get the wiping, if you like it or not. And obviously check they don't touch each other when working. Let's do a quick wipe and see what we get. Yep, working perfectly. Took a better look after the test. I might try to post the video for you to see. This end was getting a bit too close to this one while wiping, so undid that one and lifted it, the end, actually rotated it just a tiny bit, and now they are actually paralleling in this area. They should not be that close. In the winter, if this one locks just a tiny bit, this had a chance to touch it. I don't want that. So in theory, now we are good. I will just fully tighten them and put the rubber caps on. Don't over tighten these, because you are dealing with aluminum and you might crack it. Tighten it really tight, but don't over tighten. Put the cap on and also on the other side, and we are done. And this is actually working. Whoa. So that's about it. This will be kept in case the other one breaks. Maybe never, but yeah, better safe than sorry. I don't want to buy something like this ever again. This recycled, and this thing might have helped a lot from the start. As you could see, made short work of getting one of these joints apart, and probably would have done the same with the ends, even with the one that broke, obviously. But would I still continue to use this by not being able to seal anymore with the O-ring? It would be just trouble waiting to happen once again. So yeah, I don't really know. That's about it for this video. Hope it helps you, in which case please give it a like, check out my other videos, and as always, see you in the next one. Bye.